So in this recording, we're going to show how to deploy ONAP using Aarna's ONAP distribution. So we're going to use the opnfv deploy command to deploy OpenStack. So in this case, it's already deployed. So the command to run is opnfv deploy, which is what we're just showing here. So now we log into the undercloud of OpenStack and we look at the credentials. So all of this is optional. If you already have an OpenStack, you don't need any of these. So you can see that OpenStack is already deployed. So you can see all the endpoints of the OpenStack. And this is the overcloud file, which has all the credentials required to access OpenStack. So we're going to use this file in the ONAP deployment. So if you have your own OpenStack, you will have to create a file similar to this with all the credentials. So you can see the VMs that are running on this. So there are 3 other VMs, C1, C2 and C3. So these are the VMs on which the ONAP will be deployed. So these are the C stands for Casablanca. So the ONAP gets deployed across 3 VMs. So those are the IP addresses that we're showing there. So these VMs images have to be preloaded on the server. So as part of the automation in the deployment, this happens automatically. So we are not showing that step in this. So here you can log into one of the VMs and you can see all the files, the utilities related to the ONAP, which are part of the Aarna's ONAP distribution. And it also has the OOM directory, which is used for deploying ONAP using the Helm charts. So the directory util scripts contains all the utilities from Aarna. So they include the pre-deployment as well as some of the post-deployment scripts. And similarly, the directory setup utils contains the utilities related to setting up brancher and so on. So the VM images that we create as part of ANOD already contains all of this. So now what we're going to do is on the jump host, which is the main server where we are doing the deployment, we will set up an NFS and then we will mount all of the NFS directory from all the VMs, the Casablanca VMs. So you can see that the Docker data directory is exported to all the VMs. So now we run the command which runs SSH to the VMs and runs a script which mounts the Docker data. And this needs to be done on all the 3 VMs, which is C1, C2 and C3. So that's the step that we're doing right now. Okay, so now all 3 VMs have the Docker data mounted. So now you can log into the first VM, C1 Casablanca 01. So you can see that the Docker data directory is mounted. So the next step is to set up a Kubernetes cluster using Rancher. So for that we use the script Rancher setup, and then we provide the IP addresses of all the 3 VMs. So the first one is the VM on which we are running this command, which is the master, and the other 2 are the slaves. And this process takes about 15-20 minutes. So we're going to skip that in the recorded session. So now you can see that the Rancher cluster is going to be set up. The setup is completed. So now with that you can see the nodes that are part of the Kubernetes cluster. So you can see Casablanca 01, 02 and 03. So these 3 nodes are now part of the Kubernetes cluster. So those are all the default pods that are started. So now all 3 nodes are part of the Kubernetes cluster. So now we are ready to start the ONAP deployment. So the deployment happens through Helm, using the Helm charts. So the entire process is done by one single script, which is the ONAP deploy all. So you can see all the steps that we execute as part of the deployment. And this also creates all the required resources on OpenStack. So there are scripts that create all the OpenStack resources, all the networks and images and so on. So you can see the OpenStack directory where we have the images related to running the firewall applications, the VNFs. So we have pre-created these images with all the required tools. So one additional step is to make sure that the overcloud file with all the OpenStack credentials is also copied on one of these VMs. And again, this process happens as part of the automated script. So now all the OpenStack commands can be run from the ONAP VM. And now we are ready to start the deployment, which is the single script deploy all. So this takes about 40 to 45 minutes for bringing up all the ONAP pods. So this pretty much completes all the ONAP deployment as far as the deployment is concerned. So once all the pods come up, you can look at the state of these pods. All of them should eventually go into either running state or completed state. So now you can see that most of the pods are running. There are some errors which can be ignored, but majority of the pods should go into the running or a completed state. So there are about 215 pods in Casablanca. Yeah, so there you can see all the SDC related pods. So now you can see the portal related pods, and they're all in running state. So now the portal is ready. So you can start the ONAP GUI. And there are a couple of scripts that you can run to check the health. So this is to check the SDC backend health. So you should see that most of the health checks should show status as up. You can also check the status of the front end, which also should show up. So there is another helper script which sets up all the parameters required for creating the subscribers and so on. So you can run that script which sets up all of the required parameters. So it creates the subscriber, the cloud region, and so on. And this script may require some changes depending on your environment, how you are setting up, and how your OpenStack is configured. So the next step is to run the robo scripts, which distributes some of the commonly used services like firewall and VCP and so on. So we just ran that script. And again, this script takes about 15-20 minutes. So with this, you just have to set up the SOX tunnel, and then you can start the ONAP portal. And you can see you can log into the as a designer and or any other persona and perform all the operations in ONAP. So with this, the deployment is complete, and you are able to access the basic functionality of ONAP. Yeah, so you can see that the SDC can be started from here. So that shows that the SDC has come up and the ONAP GUI is accessible, and that completes the deployment process using ANOD.